Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hatch, the third, coming to you live from the Palatial Home Studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Santa Ana, California. Joining me in studio, as per the usual, is my friend, my brother in Christ, the disembodied voice of Rudy. And joining us from a more than acceptable safe social distance through the miracle of telepathy are my guests for this episode of Not Quite After Midnight, Davida Shensky and Kim Lengling. How you doing, ladies?
I'm doing just great. Yeah,
awesome.
I was a little bit frustrated today because I was supposed to go. I had an appointment to go get a fitting because I need to get a new walk-on brace. But my transportation decided they were going to be late, which meant I was going to miss my appointment because they then have to figure out how to fit me in between other appointments.
Oh, well, we can help you get some of that frustration out and get on the right track.
That sounds good to me.
Time to restart the day. How about you, Kim? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Over here in Pennsylvania, it's a little gray, dreary, and rainy today, but it's 50 degrees, which is unheard of this time of year where I'm at. Usually have 3 or 4 feet of snow, so 50 degrees in mud and rain. I'll take it.
Yes, and I've heard
downright balmy.
Weather coming in too.
Yeah,
50 degrees in Pennsylvania this time of year is downright balmy.
It is. It feels like spring. You can smell things. You can smell the dirt and everything. You go out there and you're like, wow, it feels like spring. And my dog's out there digging in the mud because, why not? So
that's right.
That's what I've been watching him do this morning. I take him out to do his business and he's out there digging like crazy.
Get that mud bath. What kind of dog you got, Kim?
He is a Belgian Malinois Mastiff mix.
Okay. So a little tiny lap dog.
Right. No, he's a good boy. I got him from a shelter 4 years ago. It was just last month. It was his gotcha day. So I've had him for 4 years, and he's something else. He's got a pretty unique personality.
Yeah, both our dogs are rescues. We actually have little dogs. One's a toy Chihuahua named Scooby, who thinks he's as big as the Great Dane of his namesake. And the other's a Maltese mix, and she's bigger. She's about 15 pounds? Yeah. Yeah. Years ago, I used to live out in another part of Southern California, and our backyard neighbors had bull mastiffs, and at 6 a.m. they decided it was time to wake up, and that howling that they got there with those big voices they had, it was enough to wake the dead. Oh yeah,
I love
absolutely.
They're so awesome. They're so awesome.
And I've had cats, we've had dogs, we've had any kind of animal you could think of. And where I'm living now, I wanted to get a cat, but we fixed up the place, and unless you get them declawed, they tear things up. And they get all over things like your computer, and that's why I haven't done it yet.
I had a guest on the show. Oh, darn it! Uma was her name. She had a business where she put in. Let's see. Where she had these little claw condoms, was what she called them, clondoms, and for cats. And what you'd do is you'd put a little bit of I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was kind of like spirit gum, and in the claw cap, and you'd stick it on their paws, and so you didn't have to get them declawed.
Huh. Well, I've
And
like
Una,
covers or something for their claws that are
yeah,
plastic.
yeah, they're little caps. They're like little rubber caps. And
Yeah.
Una Hartzell Baird, and she made these things and came on and described them, and we chatted for like a half an hour about this, that, and the other thing, and it was really interesting. My cat doesn't scratch the anything that she's not supposed to. She's pretty good about that. Because we got like an old couch and an old chair and all that stuff it's all old, and so she knows she can scratch the old stuff, but not the new stuff. But yeah, these things were pretty cool because getting a cat declawed seems like a rather horrendous thing to do. I've heard it described like cutting off the tips of your fingers and to
That'd
get
be
those claws
awful.
off, but which is kind of nasty, yeah. But putting these claw things on the cat seems like a pretty good idea. Um, yeah, to the listeners and viewers, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, scroll on down. When was that? When was Una's episode? Una's episode was back in back in early December. So not that long ago. So you can scroll down and find that episode with Una Hartzell Baird and find out about these cat clondoms. After all, that's why we do these shows so that people can promote stuff.
Right. It's a brilliant name. Brilliant name.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, it was funny when I first saw it in text, in writing, I couldn't fit. For some reason in my head, I kept thinking clown condoms. I'm like, okay, do they look like clowns or are they for clowns?
Yes. Well, you can see one of the things I have to wear.
Yeah.
That's to support my wrist and hold it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it gets very contracted and will curl up.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I haven't come into that problem yet. I've got a touch of that carpal tunnel syndrome. Yeah. So I'm supposed to wear braces, but they're just obstructive.
Well, I have no use of the hand anyway. I have cerebral palsy. So
Right.
cerebral palsy is a neuromuscular, and those parts that it affects,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of spasticity at times. Just have to be careful. But it's like I go to the gym 3 times a week. I exercise. I work at it, and I was able to keep everything off for like 50 years. But now I'm at an age that I live alone, and I don't want to be tripping over my own 2 feet and falling and getting hurt.
Right. No, we don't want that. Yeah, my niece has cerebral palsy. Pretty severe. She's wheelchair bound. But yeah, and it's niece by friendship. It's one of those relationships, brother from a different mother kind of a thing. But yeah, back when you said yourself, you went to school back before an education was guaranteed for those with disabilities. What were some of the hurdles you had to go through?
Well, teachers didn't understand that I learned differently. And in the classroom, they teach in a cookie cutter way. And sometimes by the time I was ready to move on, it would go in, but it would get into short-term memory, but it wouldn't get into long-term memory. So I did not do well on tests.
Okay.
But if I take the information and I apply it, then I have no problem with it.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
it's like they expect you to sit there, take notes, go home and read it, and then come back, go study, and take a test.
Right.
And for me, it was just different. Not everyone learns the same way. Some
No.
people, some people learn by reading, some people learn by hearing, and some people learn by actually applying it. I learned by applying it and teach, and back then you didn't hear about disabilities, you didn't know about disabilities, and the disability community didn't exist.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And because I was different, I was bullied and I was mistreated and I was not accepted.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then when you have a family that's very negative and very abusive and constantly telling you what you can't do, yeah, that's kind of a burden to have to carry it over. That's why the way when I read you my bio, the way it said it, it sounded like and I've achieved a lot, but I achieved it on my own with no support systems because there were not any support systems at that time.
Right.
Today you got the ADA, you got IDEA, you got social workers that understand what disabilities are and understand how to help you when you're in college. You've got the assistance. I mean, my sister is only deaf, 2 years older than I am, but because her personality was laid back, the peacemaker, as opposed to the one that was going to go out and make something happen, she lives alone today. She will sleep through the day unless her companion comes over and gets her out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And she was constantly being told what she couldn't do. And she was, and she was always being told how poor she is. Now, no, we were not poor. My father was a lawyer. And you get back in those times, lawyers didn't make the kind of money they make today, but he had a steady income. We lived comfortably. And he understood that because he passed away in 1970, was before the laws changed. But he knew he wanted to make sure his children were taken care of financially and set up certain, what I want to say, accounts and trusts and things to make sure we would be taken care of. But when my mother came along, when she got control over everything, it was like she only wanted me living with her. She only wanted to control, and she was the most negative person. All she could tell you was what you couldn't do. She never said a nice word, never gave an encouraging word. That's why my older sister is where she is today, because my personality was very outgoing, had very good interpersonal skills that I utilized outside sources like my friends to get the help I needed, because in the family there was no support systems, because all my mother wanted us done was to live with her so she wouldn't be alone in her diet. And I used to say to her, what's going to happen to Gail? Oh, she'll be able to take care of herself. Well, meanwhile, now she has to have a companion to get her up and get her out. She has to have someone come in and cook for her because they never taught her how to watch it, and so she could cook and pay attention and make healthy meals for herself.
Wow. Yeah, not having a familial. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
I have found that with my mom's generation and her mom's generation, certain things were never spoken of, especially mental illness or physical disabilities, never spoken of. kind of shoved in a closet somewhere, and you didn't go around talking about it because you never shared your troubles. And I remember my grandmother years ago, my grandfather, which is my mom's dad, her first year of college, he took his own life. I didn't know that. It was something I stumbled upon, this knowledge, because Grandma would never speak. I had literally never heard anything about my grandfather. Nothing. My mom never spoke of her father, and my grandma never spoke of, her previous husband. And so one day I was like, why don't we have a grandpa? And my mom said, he died when I was in college. And I said, how'd he die? And she said he took his own life. So the next time I was around Grandma, and I was always one that was asking questions. Always. I was a precocious child. And I asked my grandmother, how come, there's no pictures of Grandpa? What's Grandpa look like? And she literally said, we don't speak of him. And that was it.
Wow.
And it wasn't until after my grandmother died, she died about 20 years ago. She was 80. A friend of hers reached out. So a friend of hers was in her mid 80s. She reached out. She said, I'm cleaning through my stuff, and I found a whole bunch of pictures of your grandmother and your grandfather. Would you like them? Because I'm trying to get all my stuff in order. And I said, wow, how did you get those pictures? And she said, well, we had a double wedding. And I went, what? No one knew that either. So she mailed me this envelope of all these amazing, beautiful black and white and sepia toned photographs of my grandmother when they got married and as they were young, and they were obviously in love in these pictures. And that was the first time. I was in my early 30s. That was the first time I'd ever seen a picture of my grandfather. And I framed one and I keep it in my living room. But I never got to talk to my grandmother about it as an adult, because set in her ways, that generation, you didn't speak of it ever. And especially mental health. Oh my goodness. And even now, mental health is still carries a stigma with it, which I work hard to battle against that.
It's just now coming into being talked about because of COVID-19. Yeah. Other than that, it was never talked about. I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but if you look at the Republican Party, they deny certain things are going on, like health issues, mental, it's like.
I do it too, Davida. When you were speaking about growing up with your CP, I was thinking, oh wow, my disabilities are all self-inflicted. I got bad knees and a bad back and that kind of thing. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that major depression and ADD are disabilities. Because it's like, because I'm still in the mindset that you don't think about them. Yeah.
Bipolar. And it used to be manic depressive. Now it's bipolar. Now, I mean, really, since the ADA, a lot of terminology has changed. I don't know if you're familiar with, but back in the early part of the 20th century, the term handicap was coined. And that meant going on street corners with your cap in hand, asking for money.
Right.
And most people with disabilities don't go on street corners asking for money. They want to compete in the workplace.
Yeah. Everybody wants that bit of personal fulfillment that comes from contributing in whatever way that they can. We can.
And everyone has the capacity to contribute something amazing to the world. It doesn't matter, to me anyway, the way that's how I view people. I don't see a disability. I see a person. And there are an awful lot of disabilities.
Well, here's something Carl Jung said that I keep on my computer. It's not what happened to me, it's what I choose to become.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And, and I raised my daughter to also, we're not looking at people with so that person's in a wheelchair and their arm is kind of crooked up funny. And my daughter would say, Mommy, what's wrong with that boy? And I'd say, well, honey, he is just amazingly special, in a nice way, not a negative way. And so I was trying to teach her it's a person. You see a person, not the disability. As well as flip side, there are so many disabilities that are invisible.
Well, that's invisible. Blindness is invisible until you see the dog or until you see the cane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And the same thing,
it's funny.
I'm sorry, there's a delay.
You reminded me of. There is a little bit of a delay. Okay, everybody, Kim's not slow. There's a bit of a delay. Hold on a second. Let's see. Yeah, let's see.
See, I do a lot of personal development because if you look back in the 60s, you had the self-help industry with psychodrama, transactional analysis. Today it's all called the laws of attraction. But all it is repackaging of everything that came out of the 60s. Because if you look at TA, it talks about the parent, the adult, the child. Your child, everyone in that child asks questions and says, I want. The parent or the parent says you should. They're the ones telling you all the things you should do. But you coming out of your adult says, I am able to. And and then when you look at all the things, this is what I tell people, write down all you want, write down all the things you were told you should do, then look at all the things that you're able to do, and then look where your conflicts are. Yeah. Because those are the messages. Now, also think about it. The things that people tell you, you hear them and you internalize it. And then you start repeating it to yourself. And you keep saying it so that what you're doing is you're reinforcing all that negativity. And what does the laws of attraction tell you? Use affirmations and turn it around and change it so it becomes something positive.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I wake up every day, look in the mirror and say, Kim, you're a rock star.
Well, that's it.
In my practices as a coach, I've told plenty of people before, don't tell me how not to do something. If I want to do something, tell me how to do it. How are we going to make this happen? If you want to do this thing, then figure out how to do it. As I was about to say, Kim, you reminded me of something that happened that I saw back in, this was the early 90s now, so a million years ago, during my initial college experience. I was taking in like freshman English, I think. And the buildings where we're doing it were old military buildings where we had the classes. And this class happened to be in a room that was near the back of the building, and where the parking lot was. And there was a gentleman in the class who didn't have the use of his legs. He was completely dependent on his wheelchair for getting around. For him to use the ramp, he had to go from the back of the building where the parking lot was all the way to the front of the building to use the ramp to get inside, to go all the way back to the back of the building, and reverse that for doing. Well, he wasn't having any of it. What he would do is he would roll up to the bottom of the stairs that were in his way, he would grab hold of the railing with one arm, swing his wheelchair up to the platform with his other arm, and then pull himself up to the into the wheelchair, back into the wheelchair, and then go about his business. Yeah, the guy had, I mean, he had a Joe Swanson-like body. He had really a strong upper body. I wouldn't have wanted to get in a fight with him in a dark alley, that's for sure. But yeah, and it's like, don't tell me how not to do this. This is what I want to do. I'm going to figure out how to do it. And
well, that's it. It's all learning how to do with what you have available. I can do a lot of things with one hand, and I can get around. But if I had a car, and it would make it easier for me to make sure when I got appointments, I can be where I want to be on time. But when I have to depend on TOPS or the paratransit system, then I have to depend. It's like there were times I'm sitting around waiting, doing nothing for an hour, hour and a half, just waiting for them to pick me up to go home.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's wasted time that I could put into better use. And I realize I'm currently living in Florida. You have the seasonal thing where they have more people on there that use them than other times. But come on. And then they also have a problem with keeping drivers. Well, then pay your drivers what they're worth, because it's not easy driving in traffic. And make sure you have enough drivers to get your clients where they gotta be.
Yeah. We've got a pretty poor public transit system here in Southern California. It's getting better, but there was a time when I had my first knee surgery that I couldn't drive, and I wanted to go and visit my grandfather, who was living by car. It would have taken me about 45 minutes to get there, but I couldn't drive because I just had the surgery and was still on medication. So I took the bus. It took me half a day to get there. And I could only visit him for a total of like 45 minutes before I had to get back on the bus, because otherwise I was going to get stuck at the halfway point because the buses only ran so late. And so it's like, I get what, it's like, it's getting better out here, but not by much. The whole pandemic thing really affected public transit, because for a couple of years nobody was going anywhere, and so even still you have to mask up if you want to use the bus, but which isn't entirely a bad thing. I mean, I can understand it's inconvenient and uncomfortable, but I can kind of understand. I mean, some countries, they've been wearing masks for years, and they have much lower rates of things like flu and the common cold and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just it's ridiculous that you can't get around without a car here in Southern California. It's crazy.
Well, I lived in Atlanta for over 30 years. And you had the MARTA system that ran pretty good in DeKalb and Fulton counties. But if you lived in the outer areas, you didn't have any transportation per se. So you were really limited on where you could go. But right now I'm living in Deerfield Beach, Florida. I'm right by Boca Raton. But in Broward County, you don't have that mass transit system that you have in Dade and Miami, where they have the rail system where the buses hook into that. If they did, then it would be easier to get around. But when you have to go from one bus to another bus to another bus, you got to figure out the times, and then you got and And then if they don't have their ramps working or that they can't lower that bus to get you in there, that's why I use TOPS or the paratransit system, because they'll bring me to my door, they'll pick me up at my door, and they'll take me directly where I have to go, as opposed to taking 3 or 4 buses to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Where I live,
it's a tough thing.
I live in a very rural community, so public transportation is rural. Yes, it's not an easy word to say, is it? Rural.
Nope.
But we don't have public transportation because we're in the country. So I am public transportation for my mom and my aunt, and when they need to get to their appointments, and because I'm the one who works out of home now. I don't work out of the house, so I'm in the house. So I'm the one that I am now the public transportation.
Yeah,
Him wrangling the bus.
It's like I have a neighbor that if she was here, she would have taken me. But for the past 3 years, she's been in 3.5 years. She's been in Sacramento because her mother was up there in age. Her stepfather was up there in age. He died in December 2021, 3 days before his 99th birthday. This year, her mother passed away on his birthday when he would have been 100. So now she's settling up the estate, and once she settles up the estate and closes out the house, then she'll be back here, most likely. And, and it was like, when I did my big shopping, she would take me to the grocery store. And when I didn't need a lot, then I would just get on the shuttle bus that runs in the community here, go to the store, and then just about the time the pandemic hit, I just started taking TOPS because they would take me to the grocery store, they would bring me back, and they carry the bags to the door, which makes it a lot easier.
Yeah,
I don't have to depend on someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now they
I've got
have Instacart.
Oh yeah, for sure. I haven't used Instacart yet, but yeah, I have a cart that I when I come home I park the car because I live in an apartment complex, and so the car's a little not very far, but like an extra 100 feet, and but when I go to do the big grocery shopping, then there's all this stuff, and I can't carry it all. It's like you got the cane in one hand, and what are you gonna do? Carry one bag at a time? So I have a little cart that I come when I park. I come into the apartment, I grab the cart, I wheel it out there, and load it on up, and wheel it back and do it that way. But
you need one of those.
You mentioned
get yourself a red. Those red wagons, the flyers. Remember?
A little red wagon, a radio flyer. Yeah, no kidding.
Radio flyer. Yeah.
Well, remember what was it, 50 years ago when, I know we used to go visit my grandmother in New York, and she'd have that shopping cart that she would take with her to the grocery store, and she'd get certain things at this place and then walk to the other place and get certain, and then along the way stop and sit on the stoop. She had 10 children. And back in the day, when you had to go shopping every day to get fresh milk, and those were the days, right? But now my grandparents came from Eastern Europe. My parents were the first generation born in this country. I'm the second generation born in this country.
Okay. On my mom's side, I'm third generation U.S. My great grandparents were from England. jolly old England. They were my great grandfather was a missionary to was it called? Let's see, what is it? I can never remember. It was Sri Lanka, now it's Myanmar, or it was Myanmar and now it's Sri Lanka, or something like I don't know. But back when it was an English colony, and yeah, so some family interest around the world. But anyway, Kim, you mentioned about working from home. What are you working on now?
I'm an author, so I write a lot.
Yes.
And I have a podcast called Let Fear Bounce, Tossing Nuggets of Hope. And I also have a little television show called The Right Stuff, The Author's Voice, where I have authors from all over the world come on and share their writing journey, why they write what they write. So that's what
Very
keeps
cool.
me busy. And my dog keeps me busy too.
Let me say that 30 years ago, when I couldn't find gainful employment, I had certain skills. I wanted to work, and I ended up deciding, okay, I'm going to create my own business. And initially, because my background was psychology and mental health, I became associated with a company called Geyer and Associates became Performax. It was Assessment Profiles. It was the DISC. And then Personal Dynamics Institute, which were the training programs.
Mm.
Now, if you notice, there are times I stumble over my words. That's because my mind is going faster than I'm speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all part of the disability also.
Mm.
And so I couldn't get on with these these seminar companies that you travel with. Well, now what I do is, this was something what I did was I started creating e-learning courses, and I used the Builderall platform for my websites. Plus, I'm able to put my e-learning courses on there. I'm able to do my webinars on there. I can create my own sales funnels. So it's just like you have a place where you can set it all up, and it's all in one place, and you don't have to go find an autoresponder here or and pay money somewhere. It's like a lot of people use Kajabi for the e-learning courses, but where are their websites? That's somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then they got to hook it to an autoresponder, and then they got to hook it. Well, it's all on one platform. It makes it easy to use, and it's all easy, drag and drop to create your websites. And so, and this way, and then what happened was I went on Udemy and Skillshare, and I started putting some of my courses on there, my audio courses.
Well, that's cool.
And through there, I got Skill Success out of California. They have my courses on their platform. I had One Education out of the UK. I've had quite a number of them, but the three that bring me the money the most is the first one that came to me was LearnFest, which was CPD Formula at the time, and they changed their name. So that brings in a consistent income. I started podcasting 16 years ago when it was in its infancy.
Mm.
And my podcast is called Live Without Limits. Now I do a challenge that called 7 Ways to Reach Personal Success on a Daily Basis. Mm-hmm. And that's and the challenge creator, it's an app that you can download and people can participate in. But then I've added that to my e-learning course on that particular topic. And then and also my podcast, I changed the name to Reach Personal Success, it's Live Without Limits, Reach Personal Success on a Daily Basis.
Okay. No, that's awesome. No, you mentioned about some of the internet tools people use to get their messages out there. I'm actually in the process of launching such a thing. And it's an all-in-one automated tool system that does everything from CRMs to website building and funnels and communication with prospects and clients and all sorts of things. Actually, I have an ad. I went to Canva and built an ad I can play. So I'm gonna, since we're at that point, I'm gonna go ahead and play that. So bear with me for a moment. Attention entrepreneurs! Automate You is the all-in-one platform that will give you the tools, support, and resources you need to succeed with your business. With our all-in-one marketing and sales platform, you will be able to keep your tools in one place while saving a fortune and streamline your entire delivery process so you can focus on keeping your clients happy. Get your free 14-day trial at https automateyou.co. Let me put that back there again. Hold on. Let's see. There it is. automateyou.co. Okay. That's it. The end. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I had it on preview. No wonder you couldn't see it. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, now it's playing live. Okay, now people can see it. Attention entrepreneurs! Automate You is the all-in-one platform that will give you the tools, support, and resources you need to succeed with your business. With our all-in-one marketing and sales platform, you will be able to keep your tools in one place while saving a fortune and streamline your entire delivery process so you can focus on keeping your clients happy. Get your 14-day free trial at automateyou.co. That's automateyou.co. Okay, now it's all done.
Yeah, it's easy when you have it on one platform and you're paying one fee. Yep. Then you got to go and get Constant Contact, and then you have another place
built in.
Websites, and then you have some type of way to check out.
Uh-oh, hold on.
What happened?
I shifted my big butt and everything collapsed. Hold on. You can keep going. Don't bother. Don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just the laptop collapsed.
Oh, I thought your chair fell over.
No.
I was like, I'm 2,000 miles away. I can't do a darn thing for you.
Okay, there we go. That's better. No, I was shifting position because I have a bad back, so every now and again I gotta shift a little bit or it gets a little sore. And when I did that, the legs on the laptop fan collapsed, which sent the back of the laptop crashing down because of the weight of the camera and light that I have on here.
Okay. Well, it's just
this way. That's why I had my computer custom built so that I have what I need all within it, and it makes it easy to maneuver. Yeah. And then I have like 1 terabyte of hard drive. So because I download everything, I've got so many courses that I've created. I've got so many videos, and you need that space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I do things at home, it's not as good because at my office I've got I'm a little more stable, but but here not as much.
I often laugh. So if I'm visiting with a guest on my podcast or my television show, or just being a guest like here on your show, I often chuckle because depending upon what the weather is and what time of day it is, my setup with lights and everything is a little bit different. And I often laugh thinking I should put a camera up behind me too so people can see behind the scenes what's currently surrounding me, It's pretty funny because other people have shown theirs. It's funny.
Virtual background that has a picture that says "Invest in me."
Awesome. I use virtual background. with my green screen. I use it with the green screen. I use that a lot for my television show to put up different backgrounds. That's pretty cool. That's one thing about the last few years is that I'm not a technical person. I'm not techie by any means, and I didn't want to be. But when I found myself out of a job like thousands of others at the beginning of the pandemic, and then like you, Davida, I was like, I'm going to make my own job. I'm not sending out resumes. I'm just going to make my own thing and do my own thing. So that's what I've been doing for the last 2.5 years. But in those 2.5 years, I have learned so much about lighting and cameras and sound and Canva. I'm like a pro at Canva now, and editing videos and editing audio. I never did any of that until the last 2.5 years. And now I have people coming to me saying, I have this that needs done. Can you do it? So literally I have clients now, and I'm going, you do realize I'm not a techie pro? And they're like, no, but we love what you do. So I literally just, the way things work, I've got clients that's what I do. I do things for. I do their graphic design and videos for them. I'm like, if you only knew.
Yeah, I'm starting to do a little bit of that.
The software has advanced so much, and I was an early adapter to putting things online because I didn't have a lot of mobility to begin with. And I also, as a career coach, dealing with the things I had to deal with, I just started seeing technology across the board changing and influencing, because if you think about it, remote working didn't just start with the pandemic. It's been going on since the 90s. Because I remember when I was living in an apartment in Atlanta, and I was talking to someone, and she went and got a job that she was going to be working remotely from home. All she had to do was tell them what days and they would tell her the hours she had to be on the computer. And you will notice temp agencies, a lot of them, what they do is they advertise for Apple, for Comcast, for all of these top corporations. A lot of their workers work from home. It's just as easy to set up the software, have them come and log up, reroute it, and then you don't have to pay all that overhead. And an individual who works from home has tax breaks.
Yeah. The pandemic has definitely changed the way we look at work. Remote work isn't this strange thing that people sometimes do. It's suddenly it's the thing everybody does. It seems like and people are really getting used to. It used to be people would go into a studio to do a radio show, which would limit who my guests could be. But I've had guests as far away as the UK and Finland, and actually I think Finland may be the farthest afield because and I don't remember her name, but she had a 10-hour difference and time difference, and I think that's the farthest I've had so far. But I've had guests in Costa Rica and all over the place now. It's ridiculous.
It's opened the world. It's opened up the world. And like you're talking about, I've got guests from South Africa and Australia, and I've become friends with these people. That never would have happened. Without the world shifting the way it did. So
there's a story that I tell that shows you how all the different generations, and also how we've come full circle from where we were 100 years ago. Because if you remember, when a lot of the Europeans came to this country, what did they do? They lived in the apartment complex, especially when they came out of Ellis Island. Many of them stayed, so they became the janitors. Or whatever, or they would go, like they brought their skills with them. If you met them in the little small towns, they would go home to sell their wares. Then when they came to this, they set it up on the street corners where you came to them. And my mother always talked about Uncle Bonnie. But when he went to work for the the steel mill, and because the owner could not pay him a salary, he was willing to work for free until the owner could pay him a salary. So when the owner passed away, it was in his will. They could not fire him. They had to let him work until he was. So he pretty much worked until he was in his 70s, lived to be 99.
Wow.
But the first generation born in this country came World War II. You know, many of them, what they did was that they went and fought for their country because their country had given them so much in what they were able to achieve. And that was the beginning of the growth of the corporation and working your way up in the company to where you retired after 25, 30 years. You had the retirement party. You got the gold watch. Yeah. Then the baby boomer generation followed their parents into the workplace. But that was about the time that you started seeing the big mergers and 2 or 3 people, and they started doing the cutbacks and the buyout packages. And I knew someone that worked for IBM that got a buyout package, and for 6 months it covered to the point that she tried self-employment. For her, it was not her what she was wanting to do, what she could do, because all of us have different behavior patterns and things that we do like to do. Sure. And then what happened was she went to work for mailboxes, etc., and she was the manager of the store. And every generation after that, the next generation, most of them go to work for the corporation, get the experience, and then they retire. But we go back to the baby boom. That was the time of the 90s, the Y2K era, the beginning of the dot-com era. And that collapsed, but now everything, you need that website. That website is how you market your services today. If you look at the speaking industry, 30, 40 years ago, you had to have that media kit and those videos, and you had to send them out, and you had to have the one page. Today, here, that's how I got into podcasting. Here, go listen to my podcast. Right?
Yep.
Or here, go on my website. It'll tell you what services I have. It's much easier. That's why people, it's like, even if you have a brick and mortar store, you need a website. Why? Because then everything is open 24/7. You're making money while you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It's interesting to look back because my background prior to working from home was sales and marketing. So I did that for over 25 years. And I still have it. It's like this leather bound binder thing, but it holds business cards. So that's what it's made for, business cards.
Yeah.
So that's, you're in your car and you're doing cold calls, and I had my pocket full of business cards. And I still have this big binder with hundreds and hundreds of business cards with my notes written on the back. As soon as you get in your car, I would write down, okay, they were married, they have a dog, and they're the director of finance. So
that's
taking all those quick notes and stuff. And it was funny. Yeah. I was cleaning things out in my office the other day. I'm going, oh, that's a really nice, because it was really nice, leather bound and everything. I'm going, oh, that's nice. What's that? And I opened up, I went, oh my goodness, it's all those business cards from way back. And I'm flicking through going, well, they're out of business. That person passed away. They're out of business. But it was interesting, and it had me chuckling because these were people I met in person, and my handwritten notes, because we had cell phones, but it was just a phone. You remember, you couldn't text. They were just phones. You didn't text. There was nothing like that. So I was lucky to have a phone, like a big car phone,
right.
The big car phones. I was lucky to have that when I started.
Phones, right. Well, and how I finish that up is if you look at where they started out at the street corner, your website is your street corner today.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Put out your shingle.
That's right. Put out your virtual shingle.
Yep. Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly things have, I mean, just completely changed in the last 20 years. Well, not even 20, even in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where
there's
the
an
world is
expression that I have.
technology-wise.
There was an expression that I had, and I think I used it when I first did my podcast, and it was that jobs that existed 10 years ago don't exist today. Jobs that existed today haven't existed in 10 years ago, and there's jobs in the future that haven't been invented yet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And there are jobs that aren't going to be around anymore in the future. Yeah.
Well, that's
yeah.
Or what they've done is, if you think about it, what was a secretary in an office that got paid a set salary working in a corporation and working for 10 different people? Today, they're a virtual assistant. They pay, and each of those 10 people pay them separately. They earn more money.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's become quite the industry in and of itself.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like you always will use the skills. It's just that the type of job you do or where you do it has changed.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there are
have either of
jobs
you-
that you can't get around that you have to be at in person.
Mhm.
Right. Have either of you ever used Fiverr?
I have.
I have.
Yeah.
And it's just out there and putting up what you do and selling your services.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yep.
just freelancing.
Yeah, I
mean,
got some. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's a solid 3-second delay.
Okay. Let me see if I can do anything about that.
With Fiverr, I found 3 individuals that I've used, and they just did a phenomenal job for me, because I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a single person here. I don't have a whole big staff. I don't have large stashes of cash for all kinds. I do everything myself. I'm a one-person show, unless you count my dog, who I consider my office manager, who sleeps on my little couch in my office and occasionally peeks open to see, if I'm still on track or not. But I have found that on Fiverr, I mean, all those freelancers, I mean, it's everything on there, and I've been fortunate. I found 3 people that are just awesome, and I use them. I go back to them, to these same people. And if they can't do what I need, they know someone who does. And it's made things so much, for me anyway, easier. But I mean, it's just amazing, and there's millions and millions of people on that platform that are making a living by being freelancers, where before you had to do, like I was doing, cold calling and walk into brick and mortar stores and introduce yourself and, hey, I see you have this. Do you need help? Now it's just everything's at a click of a button.
Yeah. Hey, hold on a second. I found this thing called low data mode. I'm going to try it, and it says it'll increase the flow. So maybe we'll get rid of that delay, but I'm not sure what else will happen. So here we go. Okay, I now can't see you. It says high quality video and audio local recording continues as normal. So I guess we can't see each other while we're in this mode, but I guess we can hear each other.
I can only see myself.
Right, I can see myself too.
And I'm getting 2 blank screens.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Is the delay gone though?
Seems like, yeah.
Okay. Well, then that's what we'll deal with.
I mean, it's so. How much longer are we going to go on this interview?
Till it's not interesting anymore. Let me know when you get bored.
Till it gets boring. Yeah.
Yeah, because then what's going to happen is, but you know what? When you'll have, I guess you go in and you audit it out, right?
Nope, I post it up as recorded. Yeah, yeah. If you say something, it's going out. So, yeah, I don't edit for content or length. So, yeah, it's just we have a conversation. When it's not interesting anymore, then we stop.
That's right. Keep it real.
That's right.
That's
Absolutely.
right. That's I stopped editing. I stopped editing my podcast. I have a half-hour show, and it would take me an hour and a half to edit. And I'm like, why am I doing this? So what if there's a few ums in there if someone sneezed? Who cares? So this year, when this year started, I have weekly episodes, and I was like, oh, they're not getting edited anymore. They're just going up because this is real, and I'm talking to real people, and I'm a real person. So we're just going to keep it that way. So, why not?
Absolutely. I've been thinking about hooking an intro up, but I guess I could do that with the thing. But right now I could do it. I use DaVinci Resolve to do what little editing I do. But it can take a while to render the new file.
Right.
Like on Sundays, the main church service, the worship service, I have to, when we post it up, when we go live on Facebook, everything comes out, and including the worship music. But we decided that people who are listening to podcasts aren't listening for music. And so what I have to do is go and cut the music off of the beginning of the episode and put on the intro, the pre-made intro that we do for all of them. And because the church service can be up to an hour and a half long, sometimes it takes that long to render the new file.
Right.
So I'll do the actual editing, which doesn't take very long. But then I will then I have to hit render, and then it gives me a little countdown timer. It's like it takes 100 years.
Right.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Mine was not kind of working. Maybe because I was just quiet for a while.
Maybe. But you're fine now.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going to have to do that in the future. Is put it on this low what is it? Low data mode, so that the thing is still learning how to use Riverside. So far, it's been pretty good though. What it does is it actually records locally for each of us. So Davida, your part's being recorded on your computer, and Kim, your part's being recorded on your computer, so that it can get the highest possible quality regardless of internet speed, which is another thing I liked about Riverside over like StreamYard or any of the others. And then as the show progresses, it uploads into the cloud slowly so that it can keep that high quality, and then at the end it meshes everything together, and then I can download it at a later time, and everything's all nice and high quality and all that. Once I actually start paying for it, it's going to be a 1080p and a 48 hertz sample rate. So it's going to be really nice quality. Which I'm excited about.
I see on my end it says uploading 99%. I just noticed that.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Doesn't StreamYard now offer that? They call it streaming locally. So it does the same thing?
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
I I think I've just been seeing like commercials on that, like
Okay.
when I'm on YouTube or something, the ads on there. They call it, I think they call it streaming locally. And so they said each individual is recorded. So your sound and all of that there's never a delay and the sound is always good. I'm assuming it's rather
cool.
the same way that you were just talking about.
Yeah, probably. Oh, okay, there we go. Local recordings. On the free, it's 2 hours a month, but on the basic, it's unlimited local. I'm looking at it now.
Oh,
That's cool.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm gonna
literally
have to check that out then.
Yeah, I just started seeing those ads within the last week or so because I have StreamYard, but I haven't used it as much as I need to or want to. But that's another goal of mine this year is to start using that more effectively. I'm learning. I'm watching hours and hours of YouTube to learn how to effectively use StreamYard.
Okay.
Well, I've been using them, and what I do is use that as my video recording, where I link it to my Facebook pages that I want it to run on.
Yep.
I link it to LinkedIn. I link it to YouTube. I link it to certain places so that what they're getting is they're able to see, see it live in essence. Because when I do my podcast on Blog Talk Radio, it's all recorded.
Yeah.
It's no video.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah. I used to do Blog Talk Radio, but we weren't getting the results that we wanted, and so we switched to doing Facebook Live, and now I pre-record for higher quality, but I still do live to tape, and then I upload it later to the various things. One of the things that I really like has been Anchor FM. Through them, I can upload the audio to like it's like a half dozen different podcasting platforms, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Amazon Music and a whole bunch of others. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I'm on all of them.
Yeah, that's I use Anchor FM as well, and I think it does automatically upload to 7 different podcasting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to sign up and get an account.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than that, but I haven't bothered to get all of them yet. Because some of them, it's like, I've never heard of this. I think I need to get on iHeartRadio. I think that's the one I've gotten the church onto iHeartRadio, but I haven't gotten the other ones yet. The other podcasts onto that, because I do 5 podcasts a week now. It's actually about to be 6. So I produce 2 for internet distribution, and then I'm responsible for the content of 3, or co-responsible for the content of 3, and then my business partner wants to do a podcast on leadership, relationship, and sales. And so that's going to be an interesting one. But I'll just be doing the production for that one. That was actually why I started looking at services like Riverside, was because of that one, and because Riverside can do up to 4K quality. That's why I got the new camera that shows all my imperfections, like my big belly. But yeah, brand spanking new 4K camera and all of that good stuff. But
and you do know that that's why you have to upgrade your computer so many times, because the technology changes and how they utilize all of that. Because the last time I upgraded my computer, now I got an HD camera.
Yeah. I had started noticing a drop in my built-in camera, my integrated camera, has always had this haze to it, and kind of like I'm in a schwitz or something. But and so getting an external camera was actually a good thing. But because I had to because the camera just wasn't giving very good quality. Now this is as clear as anything.
Now, which also, what model computer do you have? Because
I
I think,
have a Lenovo IdeaPad Flex 15. It's a couple years old.
I mean, I happen to have the HP, but mine's the HP Envy, and
Oh, okay,
mine has an SSD on it, so it uploads. It comes up
nice.
fast, instead this solid state hard drive.
Yeah, yeah. I
You,
had to have a
you
solid
guys,
state. I only got a half terabyte hard only got a 500 gigabyte solid state drive, but but yeah, I had to have a solid state drive on my laptop. I've had this one for a few years now, um, and it still works pretty good. I can notice a lag when I'm doing things like editing video, but it's not too bad.
now
Um,
see, you guys will my laptop that I currently use, and it's the only computer I use, is 11 years
mhm.
old.
Wow.
Yeah. And
You know,
it's,
I tend to keep things until they break
I mean,
too.
it's a little workhorse. It's still working.
Yeah,
But
if it's
I
doing
am
what you need it to.
that's right. And I'm reaching a point though. I have a sticky note on my wall above my computer in my little office, and it's my little goals. And the number one thing is a new laptop on my goal list. The second one is a second monitor, and the third one is a docking
Mhm.
station. So,
See now, what I did was let's see, I've got the Flex, which I originally bought because it's a 2-in-1, and so I can turn it into a tablet, and I have a pen for it and everything. But then I went and bought a pair of external monitors that
mhm.
actually slide in behind the laptop screen, and so they attach to the laptop with magnets, and but I can pull it out and have three screens right there in front of me, and
Where'd you
and it's
get
really cool.
those? Where'd you
I
get
bought that
those?
on Amazon. I bought that on Amazon.
What are they called?
Uh, what were they called?
So they're not big.
Um,
They're not big honking screens. They're just like laptop size
no.
that just slide out.
hmm They come in. They actually come in two sizes. One's like for 11-inch and smaller, and then the let's see.
Like 15-inch.
Let's see. Monitor. Yeah, because mine's a 15-inch, but they come in two sizes. Let's see here.
Yeah. What are they called? What do you,
Trio Max is the one that let's see. They come in. Let's see. I'm looking at Trio Max Trio portable monitor for laptop with kickstand combo for dual or triple screen.
wow.
Yeah. Um, wow, it looks like the
I
model I
didn't
bought
even
isn't
know those
available anymore.
existed.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty nice.
That yeah. I'm
And
gonna.
I usually leave that at the office though, because it can be kind of big. And remember how my laptop fell over just from the weight of
Right.
the camera on the lap table I use at home. It doesn't work very well. Um, let's see, Trio. Mobile Pixels. Trio Max portable monitor. Oh, here it is. There's a 14.1 inch and a 12.5 inch. It looks like, but yeah, each one was under $300,
I'll be darned.
which isn't bad for a monitor. Um, But yeah, so yeah, I highly recommend getting that.
Yeah, I'm
It's
going to definitely
definitely
look into it. Because
yeah.
I upgraded my microphone from,
Okay.
and I just got myself a really, to me, quite nice kick butt Yeti. And
I like my Yeti.
yeah, I'm enjoying it and I love it. And the sound is so much better. So I'm, slowly but surely working my way down my little goal list. And I chuckle. I often chuckle that this laptop I have, the way it's able to keep up with everything that I'm doing,
Hmm.
and it's 11 years old.
Yeah,
I'm,
for
Yeah,
so
sure.
I think I'm pretty fortunate, but I have been keeping my eyes out I just don't know enough about laptops to have confidence in choosing one.
Hmm.
That's my
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, yeah. There were two things I wanted when I got mine, and one was a solid state hard drive, and because there's no moving parts, so it's less likely to get damaged physically. And then the other thing that I wanted was the two-in-one, so I could fold it over and use it like a tablet. And then and then I had to have at least 15 inches.
Yeah.
I used to have a 17-inch monitor when I was doing more video, but that's just too big now for some reason. It seems too large. But I did like with the 17 inchers you can get a separate numeric keypad,
Oh,
but I decided that wasn't as necessary.
yeah.
yeah. My computer is a 17. My laptop's a 17-inch. The
Nice.
last, but I like for me. I just need it, or I like
Hmm.
it bigger. It gets you see more. But
Yeah.
it depends on what your needs are and what you get,
Right.
Right.
what you're doing, because people don't realize when and you got to know where's your workspace. Are you
Hmm.
working like I live alone, so my computer sits in my front room. And what I did was I got an L-shaped desk so that my laptop sits in one part and my printer sits on the other side,
Hmm.
because and I have shelves that I can keep all my materials in that I use with my business.
Yeah.
So knowing that, but when you live somewhere that you have other people in the house, then you have to set up a room as your office space,
Hmm.
and keep your door closed and tell them you don't come in during these times.
Right. Right. Yeah, a friend of mine years ago, when he started working from home, he and his wife moved into a two-bedroom apartment, and he turned one of the bedrooms into his office. And they agreed that when he was in there and the door was closed, he was at work, and he had to be treated as such. So if she wanted him for something, or wanted to ask him something or talk to him about something, she literally had to call him even though he was just in the bedroom. And that was the how tight they made that rule, so that so that he could get work done from home and be productive. And I think that's a big thing, is making those kinds of rules. I can't make those kinds of rules. That's why I have an office. I've got a shared office space that's like 5 minutes away, but it comes with free coffee. So well, it's not free. It's included. So
Hey, that's a
it,
bonus right there.
it
Well,
is,
if
and there's a gym, and I've started
Oh,
using it. Yeah, I've started
awesome.
using the gym. So
Awesome.
yeah, so hopefully this time next year you won't see as much of me. But or maybe I'll be nice and buff, have the muscles.
Well, we don't see you at all right now, so
I know. So you yeah. So I can look however you want to imagine me.
well, and it's back. What was it in the early part of the 2000s? Like, you had the office suites for
Hmm.
people who worked at home, so you would go somewhere and have access to an office when you were meeting someone, and
Yeah.
other than that, and what is Starbucks? You can walk into Starbucks, and half the people are sitting there all day on their laptop working.
Yep.
And
Oh yeah.
drinking coffee.
Yep.
You know,
Oh yeah.
you
Definitely.
had mentioned about your friend having an office at home, and when that door's shut, he is like, at work. So consider him not at home. I mean, I'm on my own, and when I started doing my thing here, I'm in a old farmhouse. It's like 105 years old renovated farmhouse.
Nice.
And so I had an extra bedroom, and we had turned it into an office years ago, but never used it as an office. And then when it came to the point where it's just literally me and the dog, I'm like, I'm turning that into my office, and I'm going to make it exactly how I want it. So it's literally like 6 feet from my bedroom door. So when I am showered and ready for the day, I will say, okay, Kim, you're going to work now. It's a mindset,
Yeah.
because it can be very easy to just be like, oh, it's really nice outside today. We're just going to go outside, and walk and play in the woods and stuff. So
No.
a mindset that I had to give myself, saying, okay, Kim, your 10 foot or your 6 foot 10 step commute to work, but because I'm not one that can just sit around. And so if I'm working,
no, I'm not either.
Yeah.
But what you do is you have to get away from it. So you use a timer or you use whatever, but you take a break. That's when you go take your walk.
Yep.
Then And it's like, it might be you work 50 minutes, you take a 10-minute break. You work 50 minutes, but you're more productive than if you just sit there all day.
Oh yeah, I can't sit all day, but I do. I take a lunchtime at a very certain time. I take a break in the morning, and I take a break mid-afternoon, and then I stop at a certain time, because for probably the first year, trying to make some, you're just starting out, so you're working your tail off. It was not uncommon to put in 14-hour days, and I'd be, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 9:30 at night and I'm still in front of this computer. What am I doing? So that was another one of my things this year when this year started. Kim, you will stop at a certain time because your brain needs a rest. You have to practice a little self-care here. So and I live with PTSD. So that was kicks in a little stronger when you're overtired and stressing yourself out, Yeah. So I had to put certain things in play for myself to make things a little smoother, and it's working. Actually, it's working quite well. And I'm like, good job, Kim, as I say to, me, myself, and I, the three of us here. Good job, Kim.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet where I'm limiting my end time, because I don't limit my start time. Like, I'm technically not at work, because even though I am a professional podcaster, I have been paid for this. I'm not getting paid today, but but I do have a page episode coming up in the next couple weeks. So I won't actually get to the office until, now, let's see, 11. If I go to the office, go to the gym, it might be 1 or 2 o'clock by the time I actually get into actual work. And so if I want to say, okay, I'm going to do 8 hours, well, that still puts me to 10 o'clock at night. But like last night, because the major depression gives me something that I often use in when depression is going badly. You do something called ruminate, and basically what it is your brain starts going over the same thing over and over and over again, working and reworking the situation. Usually it's something bad that's happened, and it's like, oh, I'm such a terrible person, and all this, it's like, this is exactly what I deserve, all that kind of stuff when it's going badly. But when it's going well, when the good Bill is in charge, then I can use it to focus on work and get hyper focused and finish a project that needs doing. I had a project that needed doing last night, and I ended up staying at the office until like 3 in the morning. And then I came home, ate dinner, went to bed, and then woke up like immediately after to get ready for the show.
Yeah.
But
I'm an early starter. I am definitely a morning
oh
person.
no,
So I'll be at my computer by 6:30 in the morning.
oh
And
yikes! No,
so,
there's a 6:30 in the morning.
oh,
I thought there was just one at night.
I was gonna say you haven't you haven't experienced that?
Yeah, I've stayed up that late before.
Yeah.
I get up at 5 in the morning,
Yep.
and usually I have them pick me up at 6:44 to go to the gym, and then to pick me up to come home by 8:44. And it doesn't always work out because you got a lead time of half an hour. But
Right.
that way, once I finish the gym, and if I had a car, I would get there by 7, and I'd be out by 8:30. I'd be home by 9. And like a lot of my work is creating e-learning courses or working on
Right.
my websites, or doing my blogs, my writing.
Mhm.
So you just have to manage your time much more effectively.
Yeah, yeah, and what I've had to do, because even if I didn't have the show to do in the morning, actually, if I don't have the show to do in the morning, then I tend to get up later. But all else being equal, I've tried getting up at 9 or 7 or 6 in the morning, and I just can't make it work. And so I've had to learn to work within my strengths, and
Yep.
that means getting up in time to do a 10 a.m. recording, and going off to work, and working when my brain juices are flowing, which is
Right.
usually at night. And yeah.
Yeah, I have found that once I hit the 7 p.m. mark,
Mhm.
my brain, my creativity is gone.
You just got to know yourself.
Yeah.
What's your time when you're the most productive? That's when you get up, and that's when you do most of your work.
Yep.
And then the rest of your time, you adapt.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mornings. I accomplish so much between 6 a.m. and noon. I'll be amazed at myself sometimes, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm done for the day now. I just put in 6 hours of nonstop, and then I've got the rest of the afternoon to walk the dog or do whatever I feel like doing.
Yep. Oh yeah. But yeah, I've got so many jobs now, especially with the launch of Automate You, that there's barely. I'm glad I have a roommate to walk the dogs. Otherwise,
No,
they'd get
yeah,
fat and lazy.
yeah. Now, see, with me, with my
The dogs
podcast,
too.
right? The dogs too. With my podcast and the TV show, I batch
Hmm.
record.
Oh,
So
okay.
I will, in 1 week, I'll batch record. So I've got podcasts that I'm 10 weeks out now. So for 10 weeks,
Oh wow.
I don't have to worry about it for, a month and a half or so. And then I start, making another batch recording. So I've set
Interesting.
it up that way. And I've done that. I've got with my television show,
Hmm.
I batch recorded 16 shows. So, and those are once a week shows. So I don't have to worry about those for quite some time. So I can put my focus on my clients because I do graphic design and things like that I
Hmm.
have a handful of clients. And that doesn't take up a tremendous, I've got it down. I've actually got it down to kind of like a well-oiled machine. And I sit there, I'm like, well, look, and so I'm able to say, okay, I just banged out a whole bunch of work from 6 to noon. And so for the afternoon, it's like, well, I'm going to take mom to her doctor appointment. Then I'm going to take the dog to the park. I don't have to feel so stressed. Because at first, I don't know how you were, but when I was first started working from home, I had myself stressed because I wasn't used to setting my own hours. I was used to
Hmm.
8 to 4. And
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
I
You
would
got
feel
to get.
guilty. I would feel guilty if I wasn't working till 4. And that took another mindset shift that I had to get myself into, and say, Kim, you've got everything and then some done that you wanted to today. You don't have to sit there till 4. You're your own boss now. It took a while to get used to it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can be either the most horrible boss or the best boss ever. Because sometimes I give myself permission to take the day off and play video games.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
but with the launch, it's like I got to be the horrible boss and go to work every day
Oh no,
and do the
I
stuff that needs to
understand
get
that.
done.
Yeah, I understand that. I have a book coming out. Well, it's supposed to be coming out in a few months, and we're just now
Uh-huh.
hitting the editing phase. So once that takes up a lot of my time. That's so I
Right.
understand what you're saying. When you're on a big project, you're all in, and that's when I'm
Hmm.
on the computer. Or I take a nap in the middle of the afternoon because I'm exhausted, and then I will be upstairs in my office until 10, 11 o'clock at night. From like
Yeah.
7 to 11, just working. I always make it work somehow, but it doesn't seem so stressful or heavy because it's my own stuff and I'm doing what I enjoy.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, when you're enjoying it, it's easy to get into the work. But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think we've about come full circle on the conversation, going from making things work through your disabilities and or unique abilities to making things work as a self-employed person. Um,
We are, the three of us are just a wealth of information.
we are, and we're having an interesting conversation.
That's right.
But yeah, Kim, I think you'll really enjoy having a second monitor. I like having I like having it, so because I've got all three. I use one for communication stuff, so like Messenger and my link to phone and all that kind of stuff is on one, and WhatsApp is all on one screen, and then the stuff I'm reading is on another screen, and then where I'm actually my workspace is on the third screen, and I think having that second monitor will I think you'll really like it.
I think so too. It'll take a little getting used to, but everybody says, Kim,
Yeah.
you're gonna wonder why it took so long to get one.
Yeah, get into look up that Trio Max mobile pixels screen. Yeah, it's about as cheap an option as I've found, and
Awesome.
for another monitor. But yeah. But anyway, Davida, you've been quiet for a bit.
Well, yeah, I have, because y'all have been talking away. Yeah, and the whole thing is, we don't realize that a lot of people, the hardest thing for them is to work from home and know how to work from home effectively.
Right.
Because it's not just that the family, it's that their mindset has always been, I go out to work here, and this is, and it's also, you look at, it's a total different paradigm than we're used to. And I think even someone like working from home, working remotely, or whether they do it as an affiliate marketer with a company, a lot of people, if you go on forward, they'll sit there and ask, some of the questions just seem so dumb, and yet some of them, but they'll want to know just unbelievable things, and just ridiculous. But if they all would go on Google and Google it in, there's no reason why they can't get an answer.
Right.
That's right. Yep. So let's see, Davida, do you have a website?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's onepersonalcareercoach.com, disabilityrightsadvocate.com. And then I've got one for my challenge, which is personal success on a daily basis.com. And if they want to join my challenge, which is 7 ways to reach personal success on a daily basis, it's personal success on a daily basis.com/join the 7-day challenge. And it's the number 7.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Personal success on a daily basis. I've got that one open. Now that's really cool. Oh, got to accept your cookies. That's a nice little website. And then Kim, what about you? You got a website, don't you?
I do, and you can find everything I'm doing on there, my podcast, my television show, working on getting a radio show up and going called Nuggets of Hope, my YouTube channel, and I coordinate anthologies, so I'm an author, but I also coordinate anthologies, so you can see what books are out and what are coming and purchase them if you want. That is all on my website. The website is my name, KimLenglingAuthor.com. So all of that stuff is on there, one-stop shop.
Okay, I'm opening it up now. There you are, your bright, shining face.
I was just going to say, my face.
Yep. Coffee drinker.
Oh,
of course.
Copious amounts.
Copious amounts. I think I put that on the description for the show. For the show.
Yeah.
So okay, and the websites will be on the description, on the final description of the show, so people can find you easily, and get in touch and find your stuff. And it's been really great getting to know you both better, and interesting conversation to be sure. A lot of productive stuff. But before we quit, I'm going to ask you once again: do you fine ladies have anything else to say to the nice people?
Not at this point.
Okay.
I just want to toss a little nugget of hope out there. I want people to, when you wake up in the morning, I jokingly said, have you called yourself a rock star lately? But it's an honest question and a serious question. If you haven't, why not? You are a rock star and you can rock your day, and there's nothing that you can't do. And don't think you're nothing, because you are something, and the world is a better place because you're in it. So just remember, if no one else has told you today, you are an amazing person and you are a rock star. So go out there and rock your world.
Let me also say, because I think I said this earlier, but I don't think I said it when the show was live, is it's not what Carl Jung said. It's not, I'm not, boy, now I can't say it, but I am not what I let me see. I am not it's not what happened to me. It's what I choose to become.
It's not what happened to me. It's what I choose to become.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is. That is indeed. So definitely some nuggets of hope getting thrown out there. And some great stuff. Thank you both for being on the show, and get up and be the rock star you are.
That's right.
I think I like that, and be safe out there, everyone, and remember to wash your hands. And stay tuned for the ending credits.
Have an awesome day.
You too. Oops. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a presentation of Bald Spots Productions. I'd like to thank my mother, my beloved producer, my mother, Eileen Hatch. I, of course, am your humble host. I'd like to thank my beloved Ed McMahon, Rudy Corlew, and my special guests for today, Davida Shensky and Kim Lengling. Support the show if you feel so led over on patreon.com. We're known as Bald Spots Pro. That's just the name of the production company I chose. Well, Leah chose. Don't you dare miss YWL Online. We can be found on Facebook and wherever fine podcasts are offered. Tune in next time for Tony Jetton Salimi and Brasha Guts. Oh, shoot, I butchered that. Please like, comment, and share to stay informed. Subscribe, follow, whatever you got to do to kick that algorithm into gear and find us more listeners, because that's part of the point. If you or someone you know needs support now, call or text 988 or chat 988lifeline.org. That is the suicide and crisis hotline here in the United States. Thanks again for tuning in, and have yourselves a wonderful whenever.